systematic approach to winning. We'll kind of get through this. For those of you first-year players, squad goals are something that we're going to track every year, every game. These are things that are really easy to keep in front of, and we know if we win these squad goals, we win games. So just get started here. Okay, squad goals. Score first, score 2 outs. Q, quality at bat differential. We'll define those here in a minute. U, under 10 free bases, both allowed. A, always throw strike 1. And D, don't strike out. These are things that we're going to refer to in games. We're always going to track. Just a second. And a lot of teams will be tracking these in game. Players, you know, if you're not playing in an inning, you may be asked to keep track of you know what's happening in the game as far as squad goals, so that they can be referred to in a post-game setting as well. Okay. So score first and score 2 outs. Score first. You want to be the first team to score. It doesn't reset every inning, but you want to be the first team to score. You want to jump on your opponent, right? With 2 outs, we can record these 2 out runs every inning as we go through. Goal, we want to obviously score before the opponent does, or score more 2 out runs than our opponents. How are we going to do that? We're going to do it by being aggressive. We're going to play for 1 run early, meaning no matter what, trying to get that first run. We always want to find a way to get to second base with 2 outs. Defensively, we want to start throwing strikes, right? We want to get ahead in counts as a pitcher, making sure that our positioning is appropriate and not allowing free bases. Pitchers, you know, when you pitch to try to make them hit, as opposed to making them miss, you end up putting yourself in a position to be successful. Okay. All right. So quality at bats. These are not things that necessarily need to be memorized, but it's something where as a player, if you know what a quality at bat is, you can maintain confidence. You know, you heard Jake talk about mindset for the last couple hours. Understanding what a quality at bat is can allow you to keep that positive mindset and, you know, be in the present to maximize the present. So hard hit ball, 3 or more pitches after 2 strikes, 6 or more pitches in an at bat, extra base hit, a walk, hit by a pitch, sacrifice bunt, sac fly, advance a runner, or an RBI are going to be our quality at bats. You know, young teams especially, if you focus on these with your players and encourage your dugouts to celebrate when a teammate is having a quality at bat, helps those young kids' mindset improve, recognizing and celebrating those quality at bats. So the goals on this, we want more quality at bats over the course of the game than your opponent, right? Celebrate the results. How are we going to get there? Well, we talked about hitting approach earlier. We're going to talk about hitting approach again later, but understanding your approach and understanding, you know, what pitches you're looking for as a player are super important. Knowing where your strengths are and understanding where you are in a count so that your approach is maximized is huge. Battling with 2 strikes and driving the ball in a hitter's count, you know, understanding that there's no weak contact on the first pitch, right? Challenge mentally in pitching. You want to miss in the direction that the pitch is called. right? You want to stay lower in the zone and, focusing on some of the other goals, including, no free bases, no 2-out runs. All right, this is how you're going to hold your opponents to fewer quality at bats. Okay. So free bases. What's a free base? It includes walks, hit by pitch, any errors, stolen bases, catcher's interference, pass ball. You guys can read these. Overthrowing, defensive indifference. When we think about walks, especially, a free base, if there's nobody on, a walk is 1 free base. If there's 2 people on base, a walk is 3 free bases because of the runner advancing from second to third, first to second, and home to first. So we really want to limit those, and the importance of throwing strikes early is super important here. So we want to hold our opponent to less than 10 free bases throughout a game, and we want to take at least 12 or more free bases throughout the game. How can we do that? Offensively, understanding the approach and not being afraid of taking a pitch or walking, taking what's given, right? If players on the other team are not dialed in, knowing when to be aggressive, knowing when to put pressure on them, make them think about you as opposed to thinking about the batter. Anytime that you can create chaos methodically, you're going to increase the likelihood of getting more free bases. Okay. Defensively, you got to make them hit to win a game, right? Don't walk the ball, right? Trust your team. Pace of play, we touched on that last time. In the last session, making sure that we're moving as quickly as possible on and off the field, putting pressure on the defense to know, like, we're ready to go. Okay. And focusing on the next play. Again, mistakes are going to happen. Baseball is a game of failure. And we want to make sure that, when that inevitably happens to us, we're able to take a deep breath, pound the glove and move forward. So first strike, first pitch strikes. Any time that we are putting a ball in play, foul ball, swing and a miss, or a called strike. As a pitcher, we really want to, it's obviously, huge focus for us. So we want at least 60% or more of our first pitches to be strikes. Okay. Offensively, limiting the opposing pitcher to 55% or less. And how do we do this? Understanding zones 1 and 2 effectively on the as a pitcher, understanding the pace of game, and adjusting to the umpire's zones. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about pitching zones in a future session. As far as hitting goals go, understanding our approach, right? Understanding the hitter's count, understanding a pitcher's count, and understanding when we need to protect and when we need to be selectively aggressive. Okay. Interrupt the rhythm as well. So something that we can do, if a pitcher's just dialed in, you may need to untie your shoe to tie your shoe, right? Break them up a little bit. Put pressure on the pitcher. You don't necessarily have to play at the pitcher's pace. That can be an effective way. So don't strike out, right? When we track strikeouts, swing and a miss, called third, fouling off a bunt with 2 strikes. You may think, well, why would I bunt with 2 strikes? Well, if you don't have over a 500 average, and we've got a runner on third, with less than 2 outs, in an alpha situation, right? You may be asked to, there's probably a greater likelihood of 50% that you can get a bunt down. Okay. So if your batting average is lower than 500, but there's a 50% chance that you can get a bunt down and we can get that run across, you may be asked to bunt with 2 strikes. Okay. Offensively, we want to strike out less than 6 times throughout the game. Some of you younger teams may think that's never going to happen. It may, right? Go up there with a an approach to attack, understanding early count responsibility and early count approach, you can really cut down on those strikeouts. Defensively, we want to strike out the opposition at least 7 or more times. Okay. How? Again, maximize early count contact, right? Third strike is the team strike. Okay. Strikes 1 and 2 are player strikes. That's fine. Strike 3 is a hitter's, or is the team strike, right? Pound the chest, crowd the plate, choke up, shorten your swing, and be tough, right? You see players jumping out of the way of a ball with 2 strikes. Almost inevitably, the very next pitch is going to be strike 3, right? The pain of taking a ball in the back or in the elbow or in the leg is short, but that pain of striking out and ending an inning, ending that at bat, costing your team a base runner, can be a whole lot worse once the day's over. So be mentally tough, know when to wear it. Defensively, you want to work ahead in the count. Again, early strike percentage, we want at least 60% of our first pitches to be strikes. Understand when to pitch for a strikeout and when to pitch to put the ball in play. And work zones 2 and 3 with confidence winning ahead. When you miss a pitch, meaning you throw it off the plate, throw a ball, understand that you can use that miss to set up the next pitch. Okay. So 6 keys to victory: score first, score more 2-out runs, have more quality at bats, see more free bases, have a higher first pitch strike percentage than the opponent, and strike out less than your opponent. Okay. So big thing here, be a good teammate. Don't always try to be the hero, right? It's we over me. And, winning the small games within the game are going to allow you to focus on little victories throughout the game to stay focused in the present and to help move your team forward. The teams that win these victories or win these squad goals win more often than not. Jake, what's the percentage on some of the squad goals?
6 of 11 is over 95%. You win 6 of 11.
If you win 6 of 11 of these squad goals, you win over 95% of games. So, visualizing success. All right. There was a story last year. The guy who was our platinum slugger this year, Ethan Kogel. There was a picture sent of him to our coach chat of him doing pregame visualization. And I think he hit 4 home runs. And what did he do at the plate that day?
Adam would know better, but he went off for sure.
Yeah, he went off, hit multiple home runs, multiple RBIs, team won a championship. But the keys to proper visualization are to commit to what you're doing. You only want to visualize success as you're going through these visualizations. And so making sure that you have a clear mind and a focused mind when you're going through the visualization is super important. You want to visualize details. The feel of the turf or the dirt beneath your cleats, the grip on your bat, the smell of the pine tar. You want to visualize every detail and not just success. Okay. When you can get better at the details of visualization, you can improve the results tremendously. You utilize multiple senses in your visualization: smell, sight, texture, taste of the bubble gum that you're chewing on, or the seeds that you have. Having an every rep matters mindset, including your visualized reps. 5 minutes of visualization is worth 30 minutes of physical effort. And so making sure that you go, if you take some time to visualize every day, you're taking advantage where your opponents may not be. We're about to get into winter training next week in positionals, and if you can visualize, prior to stepping into the cages, if you can visualize exactly what you're going to do, if you can visualize prep stepping before every rep, if you can visualize, glove pattern presentation, visualize, proper drop step for any outfielders, visualize, small details of your training prior to stepping in those cages, your positional work is going to be maximized and better than any other program out there. So
I'll walk them through a quick visualization. I think that's it.
all right. And that's it. Jake's going to walk you through a quick visualization exercise. Okay.
All right. So last thing before our break here, we're going to go through a little visualization of what Coach Buffy actually just talked about. A lot of times when we think about visualization and what that looks like, we think about games, and it is absolutely a great practice to visualize games, but we don't often think about visualizing our training and the way that we're going to approach that. And sometimes for people who haven't done visualization in the past, it's hard to figure out how to get into that visualization. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to take roughly 5 minutes to go through this. And I'll tell you right now, right after this, we will have our break with the next session starting at 1 o'clock. So you'll have about an hour here to grab some lunch, stretch it out a little bit, and be back on for the second half of our day with 3 more sessions, where we're going to go into measuring what you treasure, how to set goals and really track those things and make sure that we're moving towards those. We're going to go through a lot of the resources that are included with playing for BAM and FAM, best practice of how to utilize those, or when you can expect more information about some of those things. And then we're going to go into our hitting approach, which Coach Buffy and myself will be out in the turf area at extra innings to really walk you through what that looks like with zone hitting and understanding of approach. Okay, so for right now, what I need you to do, I know some of you guys are all sitting together. That's awesome. I know some of you guys are alone. That's fine. I just need you to get comfortable, whatever that looks like for you. You want to lay down, you want to sit down, you want to stand in the corner if that's where you're comfortable, whatever it is for you. Okay, get to a spot that will allow your body to rest and relax and get comfortable. And once you get there, I just need you to close your eyes. And if you are with a group, I'm obviously not going to know, but hopefully people with you will. Your key is that you're focused on your visualization right now and not your group. So you need to make sure that you are not talking, looking around, doing any of that during this. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys about a minute here to get to a comfortable spot or location that you can hear me, but you will not need to see me or see the screen during this visualization. Got about 30 seconds and we'll get rolling. Somebody unmuted. If you'll mute them, I don't know who it is. We had a couple during this that I had to mute real quick. Okay, you guys should be in your spot of comfort. So here's what I need you to do. I need you to close your eyes. And we're going to start by just controlling our breathing. Okay, by controlling our breathing, we're going to take breaths in through our nose and out through our mouth. Control that pace in through your nose, out through your mouth. We want these to be long and slow breaths. 3 seconds in through the nose, 2, 3, 3 seconds out through the mouth. 2, 3. As you continue to breathe on pace and controlling that, allow your body to feel heavy, to relax, to sink into whatever it is that you're sitting on or laying on. Allow those eyes to stay closed as you focus on your breath, and allow your mind to wander. It is natural for you to have random thoughts that might be going through your mind. Don't fight them. Just allow them to go into and out of your mind without interrupting that thought. So that way you can choose what it is that you want to focus on. Visualize yourself dressed and ready for your first positional day next weekend. Coming in BAM or FAM gear, entering at extra innings. And we're going to take this process from step 1 all the way through what that process will look like. As you enter the facility, look around. You'll see the pro shop. You'll see the Hall of Fame room. Allow yourself to hear the door. Visualize yourself saying hi to whoever is working at the front desk, making sure to be respectful of everybody at the facility. As you enter the facility, the main field house area. As you enter that main area, you're going to see all of the different tunnel spaces. Visualize all the nets being pulled back with just a giant open turf area in the main location. Visualize yourself walking to that gate, and before you enter, checking all of the things that we've talked about at the door. How's your attitude? How's your energy? What choices are you going to make to stay locked in? How are you going to approach the day? As you visualize walking through that gate, you can hear a creak. You can hear your feet entering and getting onto the turf, and the sound of 60 to 70 other players and voices around you doing the same thing. Give yourself an opportunity in your mind to just look around, seeing all the coaches, all the excitement, all the players, the drills set up, being in a position to really thrive in that environment. Being in that setting can be challenging because oftentimes there's so many other things going on around you that it's hard to focus solely on what you're doing. So really take a couple of minutes here to visualize not only hearing, but seeing the voice of whatever coach is speaking. Really taking in that information, holding eye contact, listening with the intent to understand rather than respond. And whatever session it is that you're visualizing, catching, infield, outfield, pitching, see yourself going into some drill work. Whatever drills that you can see in your mind, allow yourself to feel yourself working through the zoids or a ladder. Feel the ball hitting your glove as your body moves, the smell of the leather, the sound of the ball on the ground, watching others take their reps before you're back up, keeping the focus solely on yourself and what you can personally control. Take 2 minutes here to continue to visualize your session, focusing heavily on your approach to that session, the work that you're doing and the mentality that you're doing it with. At the end of those 2 minutes, I will pull you out of this visualization and we will go into our break. Before you exit the visualization, the key is to make sure that you've experienced success in whatever it is that you're visualizing. If you have not done that yet, continue to go through those plays and that visualization in your mind of that first session. But as soon as you've experienced success, I want you to finish the session with everybody's hands in, getting that hard work pays off breakdown. And as you leave, finding at least one coach to give a high five or knucks to, thanking them for their time before walking out of the session, and thanking your parents for taking you and giving you the opportunity to be here. Grab all your stuff, exit the facility, and really lean into how you feel. Really lean into that mindset of feeling like you accomplished something, that you got better during that session, that your focus was in the right place, that your enthusiasm never wavered. As you exit the building, you can exit the visualization. You can sit up, stand up, open your eyes, whatever that might look like. But I want you to take note of your energy and the calmness that can be provided by something like this. Oftentimes we go into big games and we're really amped up for what's about to happen. And that can play well for us sometimes, but it also causes some problems at other times because we're too amped up. As athletes, we perform best between a specific heart rate. And when we get outside of that heart rate, it gets harder for us to actually recreate the different skills and the different patterns and things that we have to do in a game setting. So a lot of times when you choose to visualize, what it does is you set the tone of what your heart rate will be and where your focus will be. And it puts you in a position to experience the success again. I say again because you've already experienced it in your mind. The more you visualize, the more you'll find yourself creating your own deja vu. It's a really weird feeling, but it's extremely helpful. This is something that you can do at home. You can do right before bed. You can do for a test. You can do for a game. You can do for training. It's a great training exercise that really gets you focused and engaged in what's going on. All right. Outside of that, we are going to leave this room open. However, we're not going to be on here. Okay. But you don't have to exit the room and come back in. You can leave your computer up. Just make sure that you remain muted. We will do the same thing. We will begin the session at exactly 1 o'clock. Okay. So make sure that you log in a few minutes before that. And at 1 o'clock, we will go into measure what you treasure, and our ability to set goals and track what it is that we're doing. Okay. Be sure that you update a text message to your coach on this third session of the big takeaways. Let them know that you're locked into what's going on here today. And once you do that, you have 1 hour to go take a break. And we will see you guys at 1 o'clock.